These pictures were not released to excite fans. They were released to warn us. Power Book 4, Force Season 3 Episode 7 exclusive pics quietly reveal that everything is about to change. And once this episode ends, there is no going back for Tommy or anyone standing near him. Episode 7 has always been the danger zone in Power Book 4, Force. And these exclusive pictures confirm it once again. The tone of the images feels heavier than anything we have seen earlier this season. The colors are darker, the spaces feel tighter, and the characters look less confident than before. This is not a victory moment. This is the calm before a major storm. Every face in these pictures carries weight, like they already know what is coming but cannot stop it. Force is no longer moving slowly. Episode 7 is where the story begins to squeeze its characters from all sides. What makes these pictures stand out is how still everything looks. There is no chaos yet, no action frozen in time. Instead, we see people standing, watching, waiting. That silence is dangerous. In Power, silence always comes before blood. The show uses moments like this to let the audience breathe one last time before everything explodes. These images are doing the same thing. They are telling us that the real game is about to start and the rules are about to change. Another important detail is distance. Characters who once stood close now appear separated by space, walls, or shadows. This is a visual sign of broken trust. In Force, physical distance often means emotional distance, and emotional distance leads to betrayal. Episode 7 is not about building new bonds. It is about testing the ones that already exist. Some of them will not survive this test. The locations shown in these pics also matter. These are not safe places. These are areas where deals go bad and secrets come out. Force never chooses a location by accident. If a character is standing somewhere uncomfortable, it means they are about to face an uncomfortable truth. Episode 7 looks designed to force confessions, choices, and sacrifices that characters have been avoiding since the season started. One of the strongest messages from these exclusive pictures is that control is slipping. Even characters who usually appear confident now look tense. Their faces are harder, their eyes more alert. This is not the look of people who are winning. This is the look of people who feel pressure closing in. Episode 7 is not about power gained. It is about power being challenged from every direction at once. The framing of the images plays a big role here. Many characters are shown slightly off-center, which creates a feeling of imbalance. This visual trick tells us that their lives are no longer stable. In earlier episodes, characters stood tall and centered, owning their space. Now, this space feels like it owns them. Force uses this style to quietly tell the audience that the streets are shifting under everyone's feet. Another key detail is body language. Arms crossed, hands hidden, shoulders tight. These are signs of defense, not confidence. Characters are protecting themselves, not expanding their influence. Episode 7 appears to be the moment where survival becomes more important than ambition. When that happens in Power, it usually leads to desperate decisions that make things worse, not better. There is also a sense of watching and being watched in these pictures. Characters are rarely alone, but they also do not look comfortable with who is around them. This creates paranoia. Paranoia is deadly in the Power universe. Once characters start doubting everyone around them, mistakes happen fast. Episode 7 feels like the episode where trust officially dies, even if no one says it out loud. These images suggest that no one is fully in control anymore. The streets, the cartel, and personal emotions are all pulling in different directions. Episode 7 is where characters must choose what matters most to them, and that choice will cost them something they cannot replace. Another reason these pictures are so important is what they do not show. We do not see celebration. We do not see comfort. We do not see family moments or calm conversations. Everything shown feels unfinished, like a sentence cut off in the middle. This tells us Episode 7 will leave stories open, not resolved. It is a setup episode, but a dangerous one. Power has a history of using Episode 7 to remove safety nets. After this point, characters no longer get easy exits. The exclusive pics suggest that same pattern is returning. The calm faces are fake calm. Underneath, tension is building. Episode 7 is likely the episode where secrets come close to exposure but stop just short, creating even more pressure for Episode 8. Lighting is another quiet clue. Shadows dominate these images. Faces are partially hidden, rooms are dim, and corners feel heavy. In Force, shadows represent secrets and lies. Episode 7 looks full of both. Characters are hiding something, and the longer they hide it, the more damage it causes when it finally comes out. There is also a sense that some characters are already trapped. Their positions in the images feel boxed in, surrounded by walls, doors, or people. This visual language tells us they are running out of options. Episode 7 will not offer many ways out. It will only narrow paths until only one remains. These images are not trying to shock us with action. They are trying to prepare us emotionally. They want us to feel the weight before the impact. Episode 7 is not the explosion. It is the moment before the explosion, when everyone realizes escape may no longer be possible. When you put all these details together, the message becomes clear. Episode 7 is the point of no return. These exclusive pics are not teasing excitement. They are teasing consequences. Every look, every shadow, every space between characters points toward loss. Something important is about to be taken away, whether it is trust, power, love, or life itself. Force thrives on slow pressure. It tightens the story until characters break under it. Episode 7 looks like the episode designed to apply maximum pressure. The pictures show people holding themselves together, but barely. That means cracks are already forming. Once cracks appear in Power, they spread fast. This episode will likely force characters to reveal who they truly are. Not who they pretend to be, but who they become when survival is on the line. The exclusive images suggest masks are slipping. Episode 7 will not allow anyone to hide behind plans or promises anymore. The most dangerous part is that many characters may believe they still have time. These pictures tell us they do not. Episode 7 is where time runs out quietly. No alarms, no warnings. Just one decision leading to another until everything collapses. These exclusive pics are not just previews. They are signals. Episode 7 is about to reshape the season, and once it does, the damage cannot be undone. Power Book 4, Force is stepping into its darkest phase, and these images are the final calm before everything burns. Episode 7 places pressure exactly where it hurts the most, and the exclusive images quietly show that control is no longer solid for anyone involved. What looks like calm on the surface is actually restraint. Characters are holding themselves back because they know one wrong move could destroy everything they have built. This episode feels designed to expose weakness, not through action, but through silence and tension. The pictures show people thinking instead of acting. And in Power, hesitation is often more dangerous than violence. The way characters are positioned in these images suggests they are being boxed in. They are surrounded by walls, corners, and narrow spaces, which creates a feeling of being trapped. This is not accidental. Episode 7 is about limitation. Options are disappearing, and the freedom to move how they want is slowly being taken away. Even those who believe they are in charge appear restricted by forces they can no longer control. This is where pride clashes with reality. Body language plays a major role here. Shoulders are tight, faces are serious, and eyes are constantly scanning their surroundings. This is the look of people expecting something to go wrong. There is no comfort in these images, only readiness. Episode 7 seems to push everyone into a defensive mindset. Instead of expanding power, characters are protecting what little they still have. That shift alone tells us something has already started to break. The environment around them also feels colder. These are not warm, familiar spaces. These are places where deals are tested and loyalty is questioned. Episode 7 removes emotional safety and replaces it with uncertainty. When characters are forced into uncomfortable places, they are more likely to reveal their true priorities. Power has always used location to reflect emotional states, and here the message is clear. No one feels safe anymore. Another important detail is how isolated characters appear, even when they are not alone. Standing near others does not mean they trust them. Episode 7 highlights emotional isolation more than physical separation. People are together, but mentally they are preparing for betrayal. This creates paranoia, and paranoia leads to mistakes. The images suggest that everyone is waiting for someone else to make the first wrong move. There is also a noticeable lack of dominance in these pictures. No one is standing tall or relaxed. Everyone looks like they are reacting instead of leading. Episode 7 may be the moment where leadership is questioned, not by enemies, but by the situation itself. When circumstances grow stronger than the person in charge, power begins to slip away without a single shot fired. The tension in these images suggests that Episode 7 will force decisions that characters have been delaying. Avoidance is no longer an option. The pressure has built too high. When people are pushed into corners, they either fight their way out or surrender something valuable. Power often chooses the latter first, making the eventual fight even more painful. These images quietly tell us that Episode 7 is about internal struggle as much as external conflict. Characters are battling fear, doubt, and responsibility all at once. The streets may be dangerous, but the real danger comes from inside their own heads. Once confidence cracks, everything else follows. Episode 7 looks less like a turning point and more like a tightening knot. Each moment pulls the story closer to collapse. These exclusive pics are not showing us action because the real damage has not happened yet. They are showing us the moment before damage becomes unavoidable. What stands out most in these exclusive Episode 7 pictures is not what is shown, but what feels deliberately missing. There are no moments of relief, no signs of success, and no images that suggest things are going according to plan. Everything feels paused, like the story is holding its breath. In Power Book 4, Force, that pause usually means something is about to break. Episode 7 looks designed to sit in that uncomfortable space where everyone senses danger, but no one knows exactly where it will come from. The absence of certain characters in these images is just as telling as the presence of others. When the show chooses not to show someone, it is rarely accidental. It often means the character is either being protected for a bigger reveal or is about to enter the story in a way that changes everything. Episode 7 feels like it is hiding pieces on purpose, creating gaps that will later be filled with shock and consequences. Those gaps are warnings, not oversights. Lighting continues to play a quiet but powerful role. Shadows fall across faces, rooms feel dim, and even outdoor shots seem muted. This visual tone suggests secrets piling up. In Force, shadows usually represent lies, half-truths, or information being kept from the wrong person. Episode 7 appears to be soaked in secrecy. Everyone seems to know something they are not saying, and the longer those secrets stay hidden, the more damage they cause when exposed. Another key detail is how still everything feels. No one looks relaxed, but no one looks like they are acting either. This frozen energy suggests characters are waiting for permission or a signal. Someone is about to make a move that changes the balance, and everyone else is bracing for it. Episode 7 feels like the moment right before a chain reaction, where one small action leads to consequences that cannot be stopped. The spaces shown in these pictures also feel closed off. Doors, walls, narrow hallways, and tight rooms dominate the background. This creates a sense of confinement. Episode 7 is about being boxed in by past decisions. Characters are no longer moving freely through the city. Their choices have led them into limited spaces where escape is not easy. In Power, tight spaces often mean tough truths are about to surface. Facial expressions tell another story. There is very little emotion on the surface, but that lack of emotion is itself emotional. It suggests characters are suppressing fear, anger, or regret. Episode 7 looks like the episode where feelings are buried because there is no time to deal with them. That emotional delay usually comes at a cost later, when everything explodes at once. There is also a sense that trust is almost gone. Characters appear guarded even around people they should feel safe with. Episode 7 seems to push everyone into self-protection mode. When trust disappears in the Power universe, alliances crumble quickly. These images suggest relationships are being tested without anyone openly admitting it yet. What makes these pictures dangerous is how normal they appear at first glance. Nothing looks dramatic, yet everything feels wrong. That is how Force signals major change. Episode 7 is not about loud moments. It is about quiet realizations. Characters are starting to understand that the path they are on may not end the way they expected. But turning back is no longer possible. All of this points to Episode 7 being a setup for emotional and narrative damage. The show is positioning its characters like pieces on a board, locking them into place. Once the next move happens, there will be no rearranging them. These exclusive images capture that exact moment of tension. Where the story tightens and prepares to strike, Episode 7 feels like the moment where consequences stop being distant threats and start becoming real weight. The exclusive images suggest that the story is no longer asking what could happen, but who will pay the price when it does. Every frame feels heavy with responsibility. Characters are no longer chasing ambition or expansion. They are dealing with the results of choices already made. This shift is critical because Power stories always turn darker once characters are forced to face outcomes instead of possibilities. One of the strongest signals in these images is emotional exhaustion. Faces look worn, not just serious. This is not fear alone. This is the look of people who have been carrying pressure for too long. Episode 7 appears to be where that pressure begins to crack them. When exhaustion sets in, judgment becomes weaker. Characters start making decisions based on survival rather than strategy. That is when mistakes become permanent. The images also suggest that lines are being drawn, even if no one is speaking them out loud. Characters are positioned in ways that hint at sides forming. Not open alliances yet, but emotional alignment. Who stands near whom matters. Who is separated matters even more. Episode 7 seems to quietly establish who can still be trusted and who is already being pushed out. In Power, once someone is emotionally isolated, they become vulnerable to betrayal or sacrifice. Another detail is how guarded everyone appears. Hands are close to bodies, movements look restrained, and posture feels closed off. This is a sign that characters expect danger from any direction. Episode 7 removes the idea of a clear enemy. The threat feels everywhere, which makes every interaction tense. When characters cannot identify where danger is coming from, they start suspecting everyone, including allies. The lack of warmth in these images also matters. There are no soft expressions, no moments of connection, no visible comfort. Episode 7 seems to strip away emotional support. Characters are standing on their own, even when they are not alone. This emotional isolation is one of the most dangerous states in the Power universe. It pushes people to make selfish choices that hurt others without hesitation. There is also a sense that something irreversible is approaching. The images feel final in tone, even though the season is not over. Episode 7 often serves as the episode where the story locks its direction. After this point, characters cannot undo what they set in motion. These pictures suggest that the groundwork for that lock-in is already complete. The next step is action. The way characters hold eye contact or avoid it adds another layer. Some looks feel confrontational, while others feel evasive. Episode 7 appears to test courage. Who can face the truth and who looks away? Avoidance in Power rarely ends well. Characters who refuse to face reality often get caught off guard when it crashes into them. These exclusive images also hint that moral lines are blurring. No one looks completely right or completely wrong anymore. Episode 7 seems designed to place characters in situations where every option causes damage. This gray area is where power thrives. It forces the audience to question loyalty, justice, and survival at the same time. By the time episode 7 ends, these emotional setups will likely turn into real losses. The images suggest that the show is preparing the audience for that shift. This is the stage where silence becomes action and tension turns into consequence. Everything shown here points toward a moment where someone will cross a line they cannot uncross, changing the season forever. Episode 7 appears to be hiding more than it is revealing. And that is what makes these exclusive images so dangerous. Every frame feels carefully chosen, almost restrained, as if the show is deliberately avoiding showing the most important moments. In Power Book 4, Force, what the camera avoids is often more important than what it shows. Episode 7 seems built on omission, using silence and absence as storytelling weapons. One of the most striking elements is the lack of clear action. There are no visible confrontations, no weapons raised, no chaos caught mid-motion. Instead, everything looks composed, almost to calm. This controlled stillness suggests that violence has not happened yet, but it is very close. Force often uses this approach to signal that once things move, they will move fast and without warning. Episode 7 feels like a coiled spring.